YouTube, this is Hunter Surge of the Brawler Cafe, bringing you the second episode of our Armored Elite Baku-Breakdown. Let's call it that! Spin Master's loving putting Baku in front of every card tape name, so let's put it in front of our serious name. We're the Baku-Breakdown now, that's what we're doing, okay? Alright, let's get on with this. As I said during the last video, at the end of the video, I will be summing up what cards from the set are worth using, at least within this format. And because we have knowledge of Fusion Force and Shield of Destroyer, I will be putting in things in here in regards to how the cards hold up going into Fusion Force and Shield of Destroyer based on what we know. But the focus is still going to be on Armored Elite format here. So let's get into it. I'm going to be trying to go through this faster. Oh, and one other thing. Since epic character cards are a whole thing, if you're unaware, epic character cards are where in Fusion Force, starting in Fusion Force, there will be an 11th card slot where character cards with effects, like with words and not just keywords, symbols, will be written out. Basically, the character cards, again, toys, will never again have actual effects. They will have, in the toy packaging, those will be released through card packs, which sucks, but when we get to Fusion Force, we'll re-examine any of the Bakugan that got character cards, including their evolutions, in those videos. But for now, we're just going to evaluate them based on the initial character card we get. Same applies to any character cards that have evolutions that come out in the next set. We will talk about those character cards here. So yeah. So, let's get into it. Aquakinesis. This is basically just Dark Waters. This is just Dark Waters. This is just Dark Waters, but the reroll has a sync requirement. Now, in theory, if you could get this going off consistently enough in a deck with Baku Rider, this would be plus 500B, so that's pretty solid. But outside of that, it's just worse Dark Waters. Next up, we have Dripping Poison. This is 6 cost plus 600 beats and negate an action card. It's technically on par. Troll Blast Cannon is 3 costs and negate an action card, and then you take the remaining 3, you convert that into B power, and that's on par B power gain. But 6 cost negate when you could be running a 2 or 3 cost one, or a 4 cost one that has more range. So there's no reason to run this. Watery Deflection. This is a part of a cycle in this set that is a 2 cost that can only be played before rolling and gives the Bakugan a victor effect. In this case, it's copy the next action card you play this turn. Great choice to put on the Aquos one, Spin Master. Like, this effect was on the Aquos Dragonoid Ultra evolution, and one of the most disappointing things in the world was during that, hey, this had to apply. You could only copy the action if it was played that turn, because it did not have the specification that it had to be played that turn on Aquos, the Aquos Dragonoid evolution. But this sucks, because like this only applies to this can only be used with a very limited number of cards, and to even get this in the first place, you have to invest 2 energy before the battle even begins, before you even roll. Like, this is just really bad. Aquos Crest. This is 4 cost for plus 4 damage, and if you're in boost, plus 12 damage. There are much better damage boosters out there. This is really not worth it. Yeah. Aquos Bubble. This is a big funny card. Big funny. You guys wanted more mono support? Have this card that punishes mono instead. 4 cost for plus 1500 if your opponent is playing mono. There's the mono support you wanted. Overall, this card isn't that big of a deal. Like, yeah, it's way above par when this happens, but it's not a card you'd be running anyways. So this doesn't really, it's not really that big of a deal to mono decks. Also, it's just 1 battle. Like, ultimately. It's not like something like Darkest Shadow, which we will talk about whenever the Fusion Force videos happen, but it's not something like that. This ultimately is not that big of a deal to the viability of mono decks. Carapace Spin. This is basically a better version of Inspire from set 1, which was plus 1 damage, draw a card. This is a much more relevant version of that because it's plus 100B, draw a card for 1 cost. And both of them go in Aurelius Trox because this makes Aurelius Trox better because it replaces itself and it procs Aurelius Trox. And it's only 1 cost. Really like Aurelius Trox. Really happy that's happening. Okay, Ice Barrage. 3 cost plus 5 Frost Strike. You know, at the time of this recording, a card from Shields of Destroy has just been revealed for Aquos. It's a super rare that is 7 cost to get plus 7 Frost Strike. I think that comparison says a lot. Says a lot about the quality of the card design sometimes. But if you were to ever play a pure Frost Strike card, like outside of Clone Army, this would be like probably the best one to go for because it's pretty efficient. Like this is one of the most efficient applications of Frost Strike I've seen. It's just straight pay 3, get 5 Frost Strike. Now having that much energy left over to do the thing, like probably it's just too situational to really be worthwhile running. And if you're a deck that was really going to be able to abuse this sort of thing, you'd be better off just using Clone Army. Which is to say, if you were Aurelius Trox, because only Aurelius Trox can really abuse that sort of thing. But it's a nifty card. It's not the worst thing ever. I wouldn't suggest running in anything though. Burrowing Bow. This is 5 cost plus 1200, a bit above par, but it's still too expensive to be really worthwhile using. On to the flips. Aqua Slime, this is 3 cost to stop Chaos or Pyrus and draw 2. The draw 2 effect is not tied to the stop effect in any way. There's no if you do here, like the flips from Age of Aurelius. So the draw 2 effect will be able to go off regardless of if you actually stop the attack. Now with that said, utility flips are not worth it. And stopping that few factions for 3 energy is really bad. Master Strategist, this is a flip hero. So how flip heroes work is they count as flips and heroes at all times, but they can't be played from your hand as heroes. When you're flipped, you use the effect, and then you put it into play as a hero, as the other effect. So this is 5 cost, stop non-Aquos, put it into play, and your Bakugan have Victor, draw 1. So this will be a trend with flip heroes. Flip heroes are really, really bad. They're super overcosted. They're just outsiders, and the effects they give really are not worth the trouble. Like, really not worthwhile cards. Tyrus Ultimate Gamer, this is a hero. It is 3 cost. Boost if you have 7 or more cards in play. When you energize a card, draw 1. I talked about this in the boost video way back, but this really should be like a 1 cost or a 2 cost because it does absolutely nothing until you hit 7 energy. Like, it does absolutely nothing. This really has no place being 3 cost. On to the Baku gear. Okay. First up, we have Tempest Generator. This is 2 cost. When you play this, you may re-roll this Bakugan. Plus 100B, plus 1 damage. So, because this is 2 cost, this can be played for nothing if you land on a gear reduction core. Now, it gives you the reroll inherently if you get on a good core, but like the stats aren't really anything special. Basically, if you're using Tempest Generator, if you're running a deck that wants to really abuse any on-open effects, mostly the ones from heroes, stuff like Dan and Leah. The Leah from Age of Aurelius, to be clear. Aqua Plate. This is the most efficient B-Power boosting gear in the set for Aquos. It's 3 cost, which means 1 cost, and plus 400B. 0 damage boost though. Vortex Blaster, 3 cost, plus 100B, plus 3 damage, and has a sync effect to reveal 5 cost or higher on play to get plus 500B. This is okay. This is solid. 600 for 3 or 1 is pretty okay. Not the worst thing ever, but the problem with it is that the plus 500B is only for that turn. You're only getting 100B permanently, which is not fantastic. Baku Thrusters, 4 cost or 2 cost, plus 300B, plus 3 damage, worse B power gain than Aqua Plate, so we'd rather just go for Aqua Plate. Wings of Aquos, 5 cost. When you play this, draw 2, plus 100B, plus 6 damage. This card is useful enough in some gimmicky double core pickup, gear core reduction strategies, because you'll be able to turn this into a 1 cost, draw 2, but it does not give you any meaningful B power increase, which is not all that desirable. It doesn't really do much for you in the long term. Aquakinesis. This is 5 cost for plus 200B, plus 4 damage, and plus 4 Frost Strike. Overall, I think the action we went over earlier is a much better way to get your Frost Strike, because that's 3 for plus 5. This can technically be applied multiple times, but like it's a 5 cost, you know. And ultimately, if you're going for a Frost Strike strategy, you might as well just play Rostrox. Alright, with that said, let's get into the character cards / evos. We're going to be going to the character cards first, so that we can go over them all in order. So first up, we have Aquos Exhilarator. This is nothing special, 305 double shield. Isn't hitting any impressive numbers, just hits 700, which is not cutting it at all. Aqua Sensepod. This is 603 magic shield and normal shield. So this hits 1250, which was okay when we were entering Armored Elite, but then we realized basically every faction got 1450. So it's like, oh, that's a lot less okay. It was a candidate to go in Mono Aquos, but like Mono Aquos is just really not keeping up anymore. So that's a pipe dream. Aquos Dragonoid is 502 with a Flame Fist and Helix, so we can hit that's 1100 on the Helix, and its evolution, Hyper Dragonoid, is only 1 cost, which is pretty cool. Hits 704, and under boost, it gets plus 100B and plus 6 damage, which means on that Helix, it is capable of hitting 1600 and 7 damage, which is pretty okay, but this is only 100B above the best base form in Aquos, so, and you have to be in boost, so, you know, not that notable. Aquos Dragonoid Ultra. This has a Flaming Fist and a Magic Shield, and it's also 603, just like Sensepod. So just like Sensepod, it was a candidate for Mono Aquos, but that is really not kept up, especially when we found out that, oh, every faction just got 1450. To be clear, what I mean by that is a Bakugan that is able to hit 1450B with its natural course, which normally comes in the form of an 800B Bakugan that carries a Magic Shield. Aquos Enoch Ultra, this also falls into the same camp. It is 600B with a Magic Shield and Orange Shield, also 4 damage, so higher damage than those guys. And so it hits 1250B, was under consideration. It gets an Evo Infusion Force. We'll talk about that then, but it's not really anything worth noting. Yeah. Aquos Cycloid. This is Green Fist and Shield, 506. This is only hitting 900B, nothing to write home about. Aquos Batrix Ultra, Green Fist and Shield, Orange Shield, 504, and gets plus 4 damage on the shield. This is only hitting 900B, nothing to write home about. Aquos Core. Core. Does that have an Evo? No, it doesn't. So this is Helix and Orange Shield, 404. Nothing notable at all. Only hits, 1,000? It's hitting better than those Shield Bakugan we've been seeing. It hits 1,000, but that's nothing notable. Aquos Core Ultra. This is Green Fist and Orange Shield, and with 701. So it hits 1100. It has an evolution for 7 cost. Was this supposed to be some sort of boost payoff? It has 1500B and 10 damage, and has the victor effect of draw a card for each Bakugan you haven't played. Not worth the 7 cost for only plus 800. No, we won't be doing that. We will not be playing that game, sir. And here's the king, Aquos Core. If you're running Aquos, you're running this guy because he comes with a Helix and a Green Fist. He is 404, and on a Helix he gets plus 500B and plus 5 damage, which means he is hitting 1506 damage. And if you want to go the damage route, that's also an option. You can grab a plus 5 damage Helix to hit 14 damage. Very fun. Very good. Do not worry about only having that one Helix, because if you have your accuracy tactics down, that will be no problem. Feel free to check out the video on this very channel on that topic if you have not brushed up on your rolling techniques. And force healing is not really a concern either, because you will just roll Hydras first, grab your Helix, and it is very difficult for your opponent to steal stuff from your side of the field if you position it correctly in the simultaneous roll. And at that point, the Helix is gone out of your opponent's reach until you've done your team attack and it's time for Hydras to go again. Tyrus Ultra is nowhere near as notable. Fire Fist and Shield with 605, so it's only hitting 1,000. Simoga! Yes, Simo's Bakugan. Is it impressive? Is the one that in his preferred faction impressive? No. It is Flame Fist and Green Fist with 405. Its cap beat power with its natural cores is 650. This would be trash in battle brawlers, guys. This is not good. Next up is Aquos Nilius Core, which has a Flame Fist and a Helix, 601. So with that Helix, it's able to hit 1200, and it has a Titan evolution at 5 cost, 1305, with the Victor Sync ability to reveal a card in your hand that costs 5 or more for plus 10 damage. Now, obviously, this is not useful with Baku Rider because it happens at Victor, so B power is obviously no longer useful to you. You're also only getting, what, 700B off of a 5 cost evolution. That is really, really not worth it. There are some much better things you can be going for. And then we have Nilius Ultra, which also has an Evo. Nilius Ultra is 503 with Magic Shield and Green Fist. So this hits 1150, which is not up to par of what we want in this day and age. That is a good 350 behind the competition in Mr. Hydras. And its evolution is a Hyper, 4 cost, 1005, so it's only gaining 500. And while this has a Baku gear attached to it, plus 5 Frost Strike, as I've said countless times, if you want to go for Frost Strike on interactive nonsense tactics, you go for Relish Trox. This is just going to be way less efficient at that. Way more moving parts. Aquos Pictrix, 405 with double Green Fist. It's hitting 550. Aquos Pictrix Ultra. This is Orange Shield and Helix, 701. And on a Helix, it gets minus 300B and plus 5 damage. So the highest B power you're hitting is 1100 on a shield. Now obviously this is tuned towards damage for the Helix. So the cap that's hitting is 11, which means it's worse than Hydorus. Hydorus hits 14 damage. And its B power mode hits 1500. Like, there's no contest here. Aquos Barrage, 405, Orange Shield and Magic Shield, only hitting 1050, nothing of note. Aquos Skillator Ultra, also Magic Shield Bakugan with its secondary being a Green Fist, 602, only hits 1250. Would have potentially been in the running with other Mono Aquos guys I've mentioned, but like Mono Aquos is just not going to cut it. Like really between all of these, what was going to decide is, hey, does any of these have a decent Evo? If so, we run that one. If not, we just go for the one with the biggest damage, which would have been Enoch. Aquos Trox, double Helix with 305. So you're capping at 900B. Nothing of note. Aquos Ultra. I believe this is the last Aquos Bakugan in this set with an Evo. It has an orange shield and a green fist, 505. So it's capping at 900. And for 2 costs, it has a Maximus evolution. Yeah, 2 costs for Maximus. That goes up to 808. And a very powerful effect. When you attach a Baku gear to this, 500B this turn. I'm still of the opinion that this this can be the core of a pretty good gear-based deck. So if you're playing an AV format, feel free to play around with Aquos Ultra. I think it has really solid potential. That Evo comes out really early, and it has a lot of potential to gain a lot of B power. I believe Aquos Ultra has double core pickup potential too, so you could utilize those sorts of tactics with it as well. Aquos Ultra. This is green fist and orange shield, 605, caps out at 1000 B. And that is it, I believe. Yep, that's all. That's Aquos. Alright, with that said, tomorrow we will be back again with Darkus. And right, the cards that are good. So for Bakugan, obviously, Aquos Hydras. Get Aquos Hydras. You need to run Aquos, especially after the next set. The set after this one. If you want to build that Trunks Ultra deck, you would need to pick up Aquos Trunks Ultra and Aquos Maximus Ultra. Maximus Trunks Ultra. Otherwise, Aquos really did not get that many good cards in this set. Carapace Spin is a thing for Arilla's Trucks. Tempest Generator for unopened abuse decks like Dan Drago or Hero Spam. Aqua Plate if you want, if this is the best B power boosting gear option within your faction lineup, like if you're running mono Aquos. Wings of Aquos if you're running that specific gear cost reduction strat. And that's about it. Like Aquos still has one of the strongest card lineups just based off the strength of its past sets. But this set did not really give it much of anything notable. But don't worry, next set will make up for that. Oh boy. But yeah, with that said, this is Hunter Sword signing off.